If your dog has been sleeping next to you every night, for months, maybe even years, there's something you've been missing this entire time. You probably thought it was just cute, just a habit, just comfort. It's not. What your dog is actually communicating in those quiet hours, when the lights are off, when the world is still, could change the way you see your entire relationship. And if you've been misreading it, which most owners do, without even realizing it, you haven't just misunderstood a behavior. You've been overlooking something they've been trying to show you every single night. Most people don't realize this. They live with their dog. They care for it. They even love it. But they don't actually see it. Stay with me, because the last part of this will change the way you look at your dog tonight. Picture this. You're lying in bed. The room is quiet. You shift slightly under the blanket, and a few seconds later, you feel it. A small weight. A familiar presence. Your dog settling beside you. Most people think they already know why. It's cold. They just want warmth. They like soft places. Sounds reasonable, but it's wrong. Because if warmth were the only reason, your dog has options. Soft couches, rugs, corners of the house you barely notice. Even cool tile in the summer. Dogs are incredibly good at finding comfort. And yet, night after night, they walk past all of that and choose you. Here's what most people miss. Sleep is the moment your dog is at their most vulnerable. In the wild, that's when risk is highest. When awareness drops, when reaction slows, when survival is lowest, a sleeping animal is exposed. And still, your dog chooses to rest beside a human, many times their size, in a space they don't fully control. That decision is not random. It's not convenience. It's trust. In fact, studies on canine attachment have shown that dogs form bonds with their owners that closely resemble the attachment patterns seen between infants and caregivers. Which means, when your dog sleeps next to you, they're not just resting, they are placing themselves in a state of complete vulnerability, next to the one being they believe is safest. And if you've been brushing that off as just a habit, without realizing it, you've been minimizing one of the clearest signals of trust. They know how to give. This isn't about warmth. It's about where they feel safest, when they can no longer protect themselves. Now think about what your dog does. Before they settle down, they circle. They paw lightly at the blanket. Sometimes they press into you. Shift. Adjust. Press again. It looks random. It's not. Dogs don't experience the world the way you do. You see, you hear, they smell. Their scent glands, especially around their paws and skin, leave subtle chemical traces everywhere they rest. So when your dog chooses to sleep pressed against you, they're not just getting comfortable. They're doing something much deeper. They're blending scent. And in the animal world, shared scent means shared identity. In packs, individuals don't just recognize each other visually. They belong through smell, a kind of invisible signature that says, we are the same unit. So when your dog curls up against your leg or presses their body into your side night after night, they are reinforcing something. Not just closeness, belonging. You and them are not separate. You are part of the same system. This is also why, when you come home after being somewhere new, they sniff you more intensely than usual. Because you smell different, unfamiliar, disrupted. And that quiet moment at night, when they press back into you again, part of what they're doing is restoring that shared identity, bringing things back to what feels right. And if you've been seeing those small movements, those little adjustments, as meaningless, you've been missing a moment where your dog is quite literally saying, you are mine, and I am yours. This isn't about comfort, it's about belonging. Now pay attention to where your dog chooses to sleep. Not just that they're near you, but where. At the foot of the bed, near the door, along your back, sometimes between you and the entrance. It looks random. It's not. Most people assume they just picked a comfortable spot. But here's the truth. Even the most pampered dog, the one that's never faced real danger a day in its life, still carries instincts shaped over thousands of years. And in those instincts, sleep was never passive. It was strategic. In early dog groups, and even in wolves, rest didn't mean complete shutdown. There was always positioning. Someone closer to the edge, someone facing the entry point, someone ready to respond first. So, when your dog chooses a spot at night, they're not just lying down, they're placing themselves. If they face the door, they're watching the only point of entry. If they sleep along your spine, they're covering your blind side. If they position themselves between you and the outside world, they are, in their mind, taking responsibility. Not because you trained them to, but because to them, you are not just a human. You are part of their unit. And units protect each other. Will they actually confront danger? Maybe, maybe not. But that's not the point. Because in their internal model of the world, they already have a role. And every night, they quietly step into it again. And if you've been looking at your dog lying there, thinking they're just sleeping, you've been missing something important. They're not just resting beside you. They're staying ready for you. This isn't about where they sleep. It's about the role they believe they have in your life. But here's where it gets deeper. Because it's not just where they sleep, it's how they sleep. Look closely tonight. Not just at the fact that your dog is there, but at their body. Are they curled tightly into a ball? Paws tucked in, body compact, tail wrapped close. Most people think they're just comfortable, but they're not fully open. That position protects vital organs. It keeps them semi-guarded, which means they trust you, but not enough to completely let go. Now compare that to when they stretch out fully, legs extended, body loose, sometimes even exposing their belly. That is one of the most vulnerable positions a dog can take. The abdomen is sensitive, unprotected. Sleeping like that means they believe nothing around them, including you, poses a threat. That level of relaxation is earned. And then there's something even more misunderstood. When your dog turns their back to you, a lot of owners feel a subtle disconnect. Why are they facing away from me? But in canine behavior, turning your back is not distance. It's trust. Because they are choosing not to monitor you. They are choosing to feel safe enough to not look. And then there's full body contact, pressed against your legs, wedged against your ribs. Sometimes in positions that look almost uncomfortable. That's not clinginess. That's intensity. They are minimizing space. Because to them, distance equals risk. Closeness equals safety. And if you've been gently pushing them away at night because you thought they were being too much, without realizing it, you may have been creating distance in a moment where they were seeking connection the most. This isn't about sleep positions. It's about how safe they feel, being completely vulnerable next to you. Here's something most people never even think about. Dogs weren't designed to live on your schedule. Their natural alertness peaks at dawn and dusk. Their instincts are tied to cycles that existed long before you. And yet, watch what happens over time. They stay awake when you're active. They settle when you settle. They begin anticipating your bedtime. Some even move seconds before your alarm goes off. That's not coincidence. Studies observing dogs living closely with humans have shown synchronization effects. Over time, dogs begin adjusting their internal rhythms to match their owners. Think about what that means. An internal clock shaped by evolution, slowly shifting, not because it has to, but because of attachment, because they want to exist when you exist. They want to rest when you rest. And if you've never noticed that shift, you've missed something quiet but powerful. They didn't just adapt to your home, they adapted to your life. This isn't about routine, it's about alignment. Now think about a night when you weren't okay. Maybe you didn't say anything. Maybe no one else noticed. But your dog felt different. They stayed closer, pressed in more, didn't move as much. That's not your imagination. Dogs are extremely sensitive to changes in human physiology. When you're stressed, your breathing changes, your posture shifts, your tone tightens, even your scent changes. Because of hormonal fluctuations like cortisol, your dog detects all of that before you say a word, before you even fully process it yourself. And when they lie next to you at night, they are in direct contact with your breathing rhythm, your heart rate, your smallest movements. Night after night, they learn your baseline. So when something changes, they notice immediately. That's why some dogs become more physically attached when their owner is stressed, sick, or overwhelmed. Not because they were trained to, but because they are responding to a shift in you. And if you've ever thought, they're just being needy tonight, without realizing it, you may have missed a moment. where your dog was responding to something you hadn't even admitted yet. This isn't about closeness. It's about attunement. Now we need to talk about something most people ignore. If your dog has slept beside you for months or years and then suddenly stops, don't dismiss it. Dogs are creatures of pattern. A shift this consistent is almost never random. Sometimes the reason is physical: pain, joint discomfort, illness. They may choose a different surface because it feels better on their body. Sometimes it's environmental: a new person, a new pet, a subtle change in the room that feels insignificant to you but destabilizing to them. And sometimes it's emotional. Dogs associate spaces with experiences. If something stressful or frightening happened in that space, they may withdraw from it, not dramatically, quietly. And here's the part most people miss. When your dog chose to sleep next to you, that was deliberate. So if they stop, that's deliberate too. And most owners never notice until much later. By the time they do, something has already shifted, not just in behavior, but in connection. This isn't about where they sleep. It's about what changed that made them feel different. It was never about the bed. It was never about warmth. It was trust, identity, protection, alignment, emotional connection. Every night, your dog wasn't just sleeping next to you. They were choosing you again and again and again. And now you see it. So tonight, when they curl up beside you again, before you move them, before you ignore it, just pause and ask yourself, what are they trying to tell me? And this time, actually listen, because if you want to understand your dog, not just live with one, this is where it starts.